The event is so fun, and we've proven year after year how fun it is. They don't need any incentive to go. If 500 junior hires showed up, great. You know what? I'll order more pizza because there's no transportation, there's no tickets. We're just here. So sky's the limit. Make sure you're giving your events life beyond the event. And I think that really helps in that year-round promotion too. The vibe of this event should be super high energy. Let's play together. Let's build relationships. Let's create good memories, positive interactions, good vibes, laughter. Today, we're talking about 5 ways to make your youth group lock-in a huge success.
Welcome to the Ministry Coach Podcast, where every week we give you actionable and practical tips to help you implement into your youth ministry. My name is Jeff Lascola, and this is
Kristen Lascola. And today we're going to talk about the dreaded lock-in. Dun, dun, dun. Are we still doing these? Are we still doing these?
Yes, because students still love requests and
students, if you're listening, we do it for you, okay? I know some youth groups that are like, that is so 10 years ago. We don't do that anymore. And that's fine. Then this...
Move along.
Better off.
Your life is much happier.
Don't look back. But some of us are still stuck in the, I don't know, the students' requests, and we feel bad. We're like, I guess I should do it. So today we're going to talk about how to make your lock-in event a huge success. I guess you could say, or as successful as it possibly could be. Because, it's never going to be the highlight of your life unless you're one of those rare people that's a glutton for punishment.
Or you're like 22 years old, single, and you can go like 7 days without sleeping and it's totally fine.
You just have a Red Bull, you're back to normal, Monster, you're good to go. Okay, so here's one that is obvious, but I think it has bit me in the back more times than I'd like to admit. Pick the right weekend, for crying out loud. So even this year, I tried to do it at the beginning of January, and then I'm like, we've been on Christmas break for 2 weeks. There's not enough time to promote this. And I ended up moving it to the end of January instead. I'm like, what was I thinking? Like, am I a novice at this? Like, I should have known, like, this is not going to be realistic. So make sure you pick a good weekend. Not only that you have enough time to promote it, but that there's no holidays, there's no 3-day weekends. People seem to go out of town during those types, that there's no big event in your community, especially those of you in a small town. If there's some kind of town event, I don't know.
Yeah, school events, big.
Yeah, like a show choir performance or a homecoming game. Just know the calendar of the community, of the schools, of the holidays, and make sure you pick one where the majority of your students are going to be able to go. And don't do it too close to one of your own events either. So our winter camp is not until the end of February. So I'm like, this is perfect. I'm going to do it January 24th and 25th. And that gives us time to promote just the Glover Nighter. That's what we call ours. I'll get into that in a second. And then promote just camp. And we don't have to like compete for airtime. Yeah. But there will be enough space for both of these events to happen.
And you hit on a good point there. You said a date the majority of people probably could come. Yeah. Because there's probably never going to be that perfect day that everybody's available. So what's the saying? You can't please everybody, or if you try to please everybody, you please nobody, or all of the above, I guess.
Yeah. Impossible. But just like sometimes there'll be like all the kids from this middle school will have a show choir performance in LA. You're like, oh, well, that would have been good to know. So number 2, what I like to do for our lock-ins is theme it. So it's not just like we're having a lock-in. I like to promote it as an event. We do a glow-in-the-dark theme. Ours is called the Glover Nighter.
Catchy.
I thought of that. Did
you come up with that?
I did. And the only reason I'm proud to say that is because you guys know the games I name are
horrible.
So I was kind of proud of myself on Glover Nighter because every other thing I try to name is terrible. So whatever, let me have this one. So I think lock-ins are more fun when they center around a theme that everyone can get into. So ours is glow in the dark. So If you don't want to do glow in the dark because you don't have access to black lights and that just feels daunting for you, here's some other ideas. 80s, which I think 90s is the new 80s, to be honest. Sad.
Yeah, it is sad. There was much more fun things to wear, I feel like, from the 80s. That would kind of go with your glow in the dark night, though.
I know, it would.
All the neon.
I've seen a youth group do like old school playground games. So like, obviously dodgeball fits in there. Just think like
jump rope, hopscotch, that kind of stuff.
It was like, and I wouldn't even play this game nowadays, but like Red Rover, just like games you might have played in PE, stuff like that. So they would do like fun snacks that felt like school, like goldfish crackers and Capri Suns, and then do games that you might have played on the playground, like wall ball and tetherball and kickball, stuff like that. Yeah. So I think that's a really fun theme. I would actually do that. Or you could do like, you could take your top 4 games that your youth group kids love and do like favorites twist. So like, we're going to play Predator, but here's the cool twist. So it's like Predator 2.0 or Operation Night Scramble 2.0 or whatever your kid's favorite game is, but do interesting versions of them. That's like, you guys have never seen this, unlocked for the first time kind of bit. So come up with a theme instead of just saying we're coming to the church and we're going to play games and have a big sleepover. Yeah. I think it just makes it feel like more of an event. Okay, so number 3, come up with your timeline. And this is the part I think where most youth pastors are like, and I'm done.
It's a lot of time to fill.
It is, but not as much as you'd think. When you start getting your timeline down, you realize like this is actually doable. So I always feel encouraged when I do the timeline. Like I only have to make it actually
I can survive this
till 10 p.m. because then I put on a movie. So I'll give you my quick timeline. So mine is from 7 p.m. to 8 a.m. and it's a Friday night to a Saturday morning. You could be hardcore like me and have the student or the parents have a verbal agreement when they drop off their kid. We give a 10-minute grace period for pickup. After that, standard North Coast Church child care rates apply, which is $10 an hour. You will be invoiced for.
That was my idea, by the way.
It was. And it really helped with those groggy mornings where you're like, it's time for you to go home.
Right.
Where the heck are your parents?
Yeah. My favorite is when you knew where the kid lived and you knew how far it would be to get there. And they would call and say, oh, I'm on my way. Or say they're going to be leaving. And the time that they're calling to say that is longer than the time it would have taken. Does that make any sense?
Yeah. It's like, well, then you weren't
You're calling at 8:15. It only took you 10 minutes to get there. So it's like you've already left 5 minutes after, whatever.
And I think they just probably think like, oh, well, you guys are there anyways.
In good hands.
But I'm like, nah, we're ready to go. So I only do that for the all overnighter and the glow overnighter. If it's just a regular Tuesday, I'm like, whatever, be late. I don't care. I'm here anyways.
I'm usually the last to pick up our child on Tuesday nights.
You are.
I'm the caboose.
But you're just kind of waiting for the line to die down probably.
Something like that.
Yeah. Strategic. So 7:00, they check in. We just have our regular games and snack shack open, just kind of like any youth group night would start. While we're checking everyone in, girls are putting their sleeping stuff in one room. Boys are putting their sleeping stuff in another room. We're answering parents' questions. There's probably music going. Snack shack is open, like I said, maybe the video games are on, the Gaga ball pit is out. So kids are just kind of waiting for the beginning. So then at 7:30, we begin the night and we do a Just Dance to start off with a party vibe. If you're looking for a good Just Dance, my 2 favorites are That's What Makes You Beautiful by One Direction. It's a 4-person dance. So it's really fun and it's all appropriate and I love it. I also love Ghostbusters on Just Dance. That one is a staple for us. Those 2 can't go wrong. So there you go. Now you don't have to search YouTube.
And the fact that you said appropriate, it's always good to watch those.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Once through before you play anything.
And because sometimes it's not even the song. I've had a couple dance moves that were like, oh. Oopsies. YMCA, that's the 3rd one. That one is so much fun. So those 3. So we'll do a Just Dance and then we paint the kids' faces with glow paint. I have the leaders do that. I just buy it on Amazon and we just dip Q-tips in it and we ask them, what do you want? And they do dots and stripes and hearts. We paint their faces. And then we give them all glow sticks. And then we start our first game at 7:50, which is glow in the dark dodgeball. So we order a few rhino skins that are glow in the dark, and we like saturate them in light before the game to make them extra glowy. They also have glow in the dark tape that you can use to tape your floor lines, because sometimes it's hard to tell the boundaries once the lights are off. And then we do another Just Dance at 8:20 when dodgeball is over. And then at 8:30, we start game number 2, which is the Purge. That's the one where everyone gets a glow in the dark balloon. The object of the game is to pop everyone else's balloon without getting yours popped. If your balloon is intact, you're like the last one standing, you win. Very important rule on that one. If you're out, you can't pop balloons. I've mentioned this before. It's worth mentioning again. It is a safety thing because junior hires with nothing to lose are a dangerous species, and they will stop at nothing. So they can't use things to pop the balloons. They can't like grab a pen or whatever. They have to use their hands, their feet, their teeth, whatever. Yeah. Sit on it. And then we take a little break at 8:50. So then we reopen the snack shack. I order pizza, and I include pizza in the cost of the Glover Nighter. So it's $10 a person, and that works really well. That includes pizza. You could throw in soda with that. And that covers the cost of the glow paint, the glow in the dark balloons, the extra glow tape and glow sticks, all the things that you need. $10 a person covers it. So we have our pizza at 8:50, and then the pickup games are back on. So they could kind of play Gaga Ball, kind of hang out. And for junior hires, I don't have that go too long. We resume back at 9:15. So from 8:50 to 9:15 is a little break in there. And then we kick things off again with another Just Dance. I just feel like a Just Dance is a really good transition from we're all doing our own thing to, okay, we're back doing something all together again. Yeah. It's like sort of like a refocus, brings the energy back up. And then 9:20 to 9:50, we're going to play game number 3. On my schedule, it is Scatterball. But nay, I have promised myself I'm never playing Scatterball with my students ever again. They don't know how to play and they don't follow the rules. So I'm going to exchange that for glow-in-the-dark hockey this year. I'm going to get a glow-in-the-dark hockey ball. We've got our sticks.
Hockey ball.
Hockey puck.
I guess when you do play it,
I play it with a ball. I see where
sports ball.
You're trying to make me sound stupid, but
make you sound okay.
So after that game, it's 10 o'clock, and I just write on the schedule, get cozy. So meaning,
what about? Did you mention you have the 9 square up or no?
You can, yeah,
because those are glow in the dark.
They are,
or you can get. Castle Sports, we've done a video on it before. You can get glow-in-the-dark straps for those.
Yeah, and maybe I'll exchange hockey for for 9 square. Yeah. You know, I don't know. I think both are really good options. So yeah, 9 square, if you've got it, glow-in-the-dark, that's a great idea. We do that one at winter camp, so I might save it for winter camp. We do a glow-in-the-dark night at winter camp. So, but either way, I think 3 games is plenty for a lock-in event when you stagger it with the Just Dances, the breaks, the food, you know, glow paint, all of that. 3 is plenty. We say get cozy, meaning kind of you can grab a blanket, change into some PJs or whatever. Then we all meet back in the auditorium and we're going to watch a movie at 10:15. Last year, they were obsessed with Shrek. I don't know why Shrek is making a comeback, but I don't know. Is it in your town? Because it wasn't ours. So I don't know what we're going to watch this year. I think we had an idea, but now I forget. And then 12:30 was lights out. Boys went to their room. Girls went to their room. And we slept.
Right.
No, we just told them to be quiet
a lot of shushing
all night long. So one little twist and hack for this event that I really think is worth it is having a security person. We've talked in the past about launching your own safety team, security team. I have a security guy stay the whole night. He brings a cot and he sleeps in the hallway and kind of watches that public area throughout the night. He sleeps, but he's also kind of like there. Yeah. So it's like, hey, if you leave this room, you know, because it's like, I always say like, hey, if you follow the rules, we're all going to be great. If you're like dead set on causing problems and sneaking out and whatever, our building has an alarm. So I'm like, you can't get out without setting off the alarm. But if you're just going to hang out in the hallway, there's a security guard out there. So just stay in the room, go to bed, be quiet. So I wouldn't say we have raving success with that, but at least no one's unsafe. They're just giggling and farting and coughing all night. So that's that. And then how to get people there, like how to, like the cough. They love the cough. I know.
Just to make a noise.
And then you cough. And
then someone across the room will do it.
And then I'm going to crinkle this bag. And then you crinkle a bag. It's like.
But why is this like spreads across so many generations?
Because junior hires
never change.
Like when high schoolers come back and they were like, I want to volunteer. They're like, were we like this? I'm like 100%. No, we weren't. I said, look, I hate to tell you, junior hires have not changed in 20 years, and nor will they in the next 20 years. No. I mean, some of them have like the trends change, what they wear. There's the sheesh that's around for 30 seconds, and then they move on to something else. But then it's like, but the classics stay. The classics stay.
Farting will always be
the thing. So make sure you're promoting it well to get students there. And just like any event you do, make sure that parents have easy access to sign up, meaning email parents your permission slip. Make sure they have all the information they need online or in your email. For this event, I will say I don't do online signups because I'm like, we have endless capacity. Mm-hmm. Like if 500 junior hires showed up, great. You know what? I'll order more pizza.
Right.
Because there's no transportation, there's no tickets, there's no contracts. It's like we're just here. So sky's the limit really on attendance. So I don't do online signups. I'm like, turn in your permission slip ahead of time or bring it that night. I don't really care. Is that kind of
how you gauge roughly how many kids are coming just by the permission slips that you get in advance?
Yeah. I mean, and because
that could be wise. I mean, if you did have certain things you needed to order well in advance, you might need to know.
Well, and I can, at this point, like if you're newer, maybe you need I need to know exactly how much glow paint to order. But at this stage in the game for me, I'm like, I can pretty much predict the percentage we're going to get. You know, it's a pretty predictable pattern for us. And maybe you're starting to predict your own pattern. It's like, all right, we usually have 60% of our total do events. So that would be whatever, you know, you're never plan for 100%. Mm-hmm. Even if they invite friends, it's never 100% for me anyways. I always plan for about 60 to 75% of the total to come to the events. Okay. So
question. So you did say you charge, it's $10 for this event. This is obviously an event you've done for many, many years. Mm-hmm. Students look forward to it. They've either had siblings do it or they did it the prior year. So they are really excited about it. So if you're doing a first time event, and I know a ministry your size, with the experience and reputation that you guys have, it's like, it's going to be fun. It's like, I don't know what it is. We're going to call it the whatever night. And the kids are like, I'm going. I don't care what it is. So for a smaller youth ministry or a newer youth ministry, do you think it's a good idea to charge for events? Sub-question. A lot of times people say if someone is paying money for something, they're much more likely to go to it as opposed to like, I'll be there. And then the night comes, it's like, But it's kind of like, hey, if I paid $10 or if you're the parents, you paid $10, like your kid's going to go.
Sure.
So where do you, on those two things, like where do you fall?
When I was smaller, I don't think I charged. I could easily cover the supplies and pizza out of my budget. Of this stuff. Yeah, but now it's like I'm not spending hundreds of dollars on this, you know. And if everyone pitched in $10, it's like it's such a nominal cost it doesn't hurt. And if it did, they'd let me know, and I'd be like, "Don't worry about it," you know. Yeah, I just think it's a responsible use of my budget. I would rather not take the hit if I don't have to. But like you bring up a good point. If I'm a brand new youth group, if I'm small, if I can cover it, then maybe I do. And I just let it gain traction until it's so hyped that they'd pay $20 to go, like because they just want to be there. Not that you need to charge that. I just mean that's how exciting it would be. Right. So yeah, I think you kind of have to answer that question on your own. Like, what is my budget like? What's a responsible use of it? And is $10 a make or break? And maybe you don't, I used to charge $7 and that covered it, but it was tight. And so I'm like, all right, 10 gives us a little wiggle room to, order a couple new things or whatever. And it didn't really make a difference to anybody. So yeah, like look at your own budget and motivation and all of that, because you might need to get a couple years under your belt for it to get a reputation. So, and here's the thing too. I would charge if I didn't have glow lights. Like that might be what you pay for the first year of like, well, I need to buy a couple black lights, I inherited them. Like there was one of our campuses was getting rid of them and put out an email. Does anyone want these? And I was like, yes, I want them. So we just store them all year. And then our tech guys put them up in the auditorium that night. But that would be a great initial cost, $10 a kid to buy. And if you have a smaller youth room or whatever auditorium and you only need a couple, then great. I don't know how many we have, probably 10 or so, but yeah. So yeah, the cost, it's supposed to work for you, not against you. And if you feel like it's going to work against you, then maybe come up with something else. But even $5.
Do you think it encourages kids to actually go? Like
they would come, I think, regardless. Okay. I don't think it's like oh man, I wasn't going to go. Like you said it, like the event is so fun and we've proven year after year how fun it is that they don't need any incentive, to go.
And it's worth noting that anything you make above and beyond your cost is rolled back into the ministry for more game supplies, more camp scholarships, whatever it might be.
100%. So it's kind of a win there strategically. But yeah, so just make sure you're promoting it well. If you have social media, make sure you're doing that. Email it to parents. Announce it on the weekends. Like we talked about in the previous episode, make sure you take pictures and video so that you can use it next year when you want to promote this event. We do this group picture every year at the Glow-Over-Nighter with our glow-in-the-dark balloons, and everyone holds them up and we're all in our glow paint. And that one for the past few years has been printed on a big like gator board and put up on our room, like in the wall in our room. So it's like, oh, that looks so cool. So make sure you're giving your events life beyond the event. And I think that really helps in that like year-round promotion too, of like, oh, look, that was me in the hot pink, like with my balloon. And what was that? And that was so fun. So it continues to live its life. And then when you have that event next time, maybe a kid who wasn't in that picture is like, okay, I want to do it. That looks super cool. So just to kind of double down on that concept from last week, make sure you're filming this so that if it's a new event for you every year, you can use it for marketing and promotion to show people like, this was so cool. Yeah. So the gospel is central to our faith. Shouldn't it be central to your youth ministry curriculum? Save hours every week with ready-to-use tools like video messages, small group guides, and graphics. Every resource is gospel-centered, helping students and parents see themselves and the world through a new lens. G-Shades even has a plan for small churches, giving you flexibility and depth with smaller budgets in mind. Your students deserve gospel-centered curriculum. It's time to set a new standard. Start now at youthministrycurriculum.com. And lastly, as we kind of close up, like the vibe of this event should be super high energy. So it's going to be party, fun, high energy. Like this is just an event to be like, let's play together. Let's build relationships. Let's create good memories, positive interactions, good vibes, laughter, energy, dancing, and make sure you have enough leaders that can stay. My intern, like I have 3 guy interns and a girl intern and me. So there's 5 staff plus security. I'm like, okay, between all of us spending the night, we should be good. But then my other volunteers, they're probably going to come throughout the night. I told them you don't have to spend the night if you don't want to. One said she would. So that gives us 3 guys, 3 girls. And, it'll be fine. But getting your volunteers there too will create even more of that energy and fun for the event. And like I said, get a security guy there, safety guy there if you can, especially because it's overnight, you know. I don't know about you. Like, our church is beautiful, but sometimes it.
Like my mom used to always say, there's nothing good that happens after 11 o'clock.
Yeah, you just never know.
Who might be roaming around your campus or your church.
And I think it makes parents feel better too. But we lock up, set the alarm, all of that kind of stuff. It's just nice to have an extra set of eyes that's not dealing with kids necessarily, just dealing with the building.
Yeah. I know you talked obviously a ton about the Glover Nighter. If you wanted more information about that, we did an entire episode all about that. So you can check that out. We will link that below. And then we also, as you also mentioned, we have an episode about the importance of security and kind of like how you can implement that into your youth ministry. It puts parents, gives them a peace of mind, and as well as students. So make sure you check that out. And finally, if you were doing any sort of movie, we do have a recommended movies list. This is the top 75 movies recommended by youth pastors.
I didn't know we had that.
Hello, we did that like last year, I think.
I can't remember.
It was a poll of over 500 youth pastors, I think.
Wow, what's number 1?
You'll have to email us at ministrycoachpodcast@gmail.com to find out. No, I think it's always like Princess Bride, Napoleon Dynamite,
Nacho Libre?
And Nacho Libre. Those are, I think, the top 3. So,
okay.
But if you want to broaden your horizons and do something else, these are 75.
Can I put out Diary of a Wimpy Kid into the mix? I don't know if that made the list.
I don't think so.
It's so good. Just the original one, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I love that movie. Oh, yeah,
it is. Good. It is pretty funny and pretty true to form for middle school.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so great.
Question of the day this week is, what is a song that you could probably listen to every day of your life and you never get tired of?
Call Me Al by Paul Simon.
I think you do play that song every day.
I do listen to it every day. Yeah. It's so fun.
Yeah,
and
it's upbeat.
Funny and bubbly and hilarious. And I love the video with, I think Chevy Chase is in it.
Is.
It's just like, I don't know. I just love that. It's like, what is it even about?
It's I have no idea. Really odd lyrics, but it's fun. It's a fun song.
Roly-poly little bat face girl.
I know.
Like, what is that? Who is that?
Mine would be Bizarre Love Triangle by New Order.
Love it.
I don't know. Maybe we've already even done this question before because I feel like I've already answered that with that same answer, but I don't know what that song's about. I guess the Bizarre Love Triangle. I just love the music, the beat.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
Everything by New Order is pretty good.
No, actually, it's not.
Really? Well,
they really have 3 hits, and then everything else
all
is
their
awful.
Hits. Okay, that's what I meant. Like Blue Monday.
Like 20 albums, 3 good songs.
I mean, that's how it is for most artists.
Especially that era. You only had to have 1 good song and then 11 other garbage ones.
You know what else I really like? King of Wishful Thinking. I've been listening to that a lot lately. That's by...
Someone can put it in the comment section below. All right, this is the community comment of the day. This comes from Carl Schmidtke, who says, what I enjoy most about your podcast is your fresh ideas, cheerful banter, and heart for ministry. And Carl, what I enjoy most about you is I think this is the 3rd time we've had Carl as the community comment of the day. Thank you, Carl.
3 cheers for Carl.
Record.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes. So
that's great.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Also, I love the name Carl.
Yeah.
It's really good.
And you have a great restaurant, Carl's Jr. Kristen wanted to work there when she was a kid.
My whole life. I was like, that's what I'm doing with my life. I'm working at Carl's Jr. My cousin still asks me that.
Ministry instead.
I could have been working at Carl's Jr., but no, I'm in youth ministry. My cousin still asks me like, do you remember when you used to want to work at Carl's Jr.? Because I told everybody, like, this is what I'm going to
do. Okay. It's like you didn't hit your goals in life, but that's okay. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time.
Today, we're talking about 5 ways to make your youth group lock-in a huge success. I didn't see a flash.
I totally saw a flash.
Okay, so your third leadership team. What?
Ring and whatever else you want to call it.
Okay, it's time to go.